Broadcasting live from the EBSN online studios in Columbus, Ohio. It's Silver and Blue Nation, the voice of diehard Dallas Cowboy fans. Now, here are your hosts, Big Game James and Producer G.
What's up, everybody? Big Game James.
Producer G, what's up?
Silver and Blue Nation. What's up, everybody in the house? Silver and Blue Nation in the house. I'm feeling real good today. I don't know why I'm feeling so good today, but I am feeling really good. We haven't signed anybody in free agency, so I shouldn't feel good at all. But I feel real good today.
I mean, it's a beautiful day.
It's
where
a beautiful
we are
day.
right now.
It's a beautiful day. Where
Spring's
we're at
right
right
around
now.
the corner.
Yes.
The draft's coming up.
Yes. Please, let's get
spring
somebody.
Football in college. I mean, all
Yes.
kind of stuff's going on right now.
Yes. So
as we get prepared for this draft, and
hopefully we'll get some people that we hopefully like, since we're not signing anybody in free agency, it seems like. So hopefully we knock some people out in this draft and maybe make some draft waves, maybe move up in the draft. You've seen the Colts and Jets did some finagling. We're going to jump into some things because I know the Colts got an eye on a couple players. They already we thought they were going to snag one, but they didn't. But they're eyeing another player that we have in the fold. So we'll talk about that later here in a minute.
yeah, so many things to get into today. I just want to thank everybody who's tuning in, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or you're listening back to us on Soundcloud, iTunes, or Google Play. We certainly appreciate everybody who's going to be tuning in with us tonight. Start off with the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Shoot questions at us, and we're going to get everybody involved tonight on Facebook Live and YouTube as well. We're going to have our guy Derek Kirby from Dallas Prospect calling in here any minute to talk a little Cowboys with us. And before we dive into our big list of topics for the day, and I know Orlando Scandrick's a hot topic.
Yes,
the Cowboys. Unbelievable. They're not doing anything so far, and they're the only team not doing anything. So
it's crazy.
We'll be diving into that a little bit. All kind of stuff today. So let's go ahead and thank some people who's been tuning in so far with us already on our stream. We got Ron Smith always over here, Mama T, Willie Stovall. You already mentioned some names. Dana Brining, Annette always, Joanne Bratcher. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody, let me go over here and check out YouTube real quick, see who we got over here. We got Miguel Puente in there, Buddy Johnson. He says, "What's up, Coach J?"
What up? I feel good when he says Coach J. I feel so good about myself. I love Coach J.
And, like as we said, we got a lot of topics to get into, a big list of them. So while we're waiting on our phone call, because we're going to try to knock that out first here with Derek from the DallasProspect.com. You can go check out that website. Lots of things going on there with Silver and Blue Nation, Law Nation, Big Game James, me, Producer G, and Derek Kirby. We're all
collabing,
trying to make something big happen for.
It's going to be big. Not trying to. We're going to make it big.
Everybody who loves the Cowboys, you definitely want to check that out. Fred Woods says, "What's up?" on YouTube Live from West Palm Beach, Florida.
What up, Fred?
And Zachary Ryan over here on Facebook Live as well. We appreciate you tuning in. Seaber's in there. So while we're waiting on our phone call,
today.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into a comment then while we're waiting before we get to our topics in our phone call. We got Miguel Puente over here on YouTube Live. He says, "Who's our biggest threat in the East, in the NFC East? Like as far as the teams in our division, who will be the biggest threat?"
I mean, it's got to be the Eagles. They went out there. They didn't stay in pat. They went and got rid of Torrey Smith, and they brought in Michael Bennett. And then they're talking about they got another big game guy who just with the Eagles. I can't forget. Who they brought in.
They just lose Vinny Curry?
They lost Vinny Curry, but I feel like at the end of the day, they're trying to replenish. I feel like they're going to be our problem maybe for the next couple of years because they're not standing pat, and it's not like the Eagles are young. They're still, old. They're still a very young team. If you look at their team across the board, they're young across the board, offensive line and defensive line. So Eagles are going to be a problem. Redskins, I'm sorry. As long as they have Gruden as their coach, I'm not worried about the Redskins as long as Gruden is their coach. And we'll see what happens with the Giants. They always give us a problem just because they're the Giants. But at the end of the day, right now, to me, the Eagles are our biggest problem because they're young, they're hungry, and they just don't want to me, they're not settled with that one Super Bowl. They're trying to get multiple Super Bowls so people stop talking about them being the Browns of the East, as they were labeled for a very long time. So we're going to have to start giving the Eagles some respect and start bringing our A game because if we don't, it's going to be a problem with those Eagles.
Once again, I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in with us so far. Give us a like and a share. if you like the video. And we got our guy on the phone, Derek. We're going to get to him in just a sec.
Let me answer one question right quick, G, for
sure,
you. Sure, yeah. Dino jumped in there because we got a cat, Flemings from the New England Patriots offensive tackle. He's already talked about. Well, they were talking about him bringing him earlier, but now they are bringing him in, and it looks like Cameron Fleming, I think they really may sign him. Dino brought a quick question, and he said, if we bring in Flemings, do we think the idea of Collins is over as far as staying tackle? I don't know. I just feel like the problem is with Dallas is that you move Collins from guard to tackle. Now you're talking about getting this kid Flemings, who is an starting offensive tackle. If he is your starting offensive tackle and you move him back to guard, I think that's what the problem is with the Cowboys. We're moving these guys and messing their value up. Pick a spot with La'el Collins and keep him there and don't move him anymore.
Thanks for tuning in, Zachary Ryan and Jessica Haggerty. We certainly appreciate that. Katina in there on Facebook Live. Fred Woods over here on YouTube has a question. We'll get to that in just a second. First, let's go ahead and bring in Derek Kirby, our guy from the Dallas Prospect. What's going on, Derek?
Hey, guys. Nothing much.
Hey, man, you need to sound a little bit more pep in your step when you call in on Silver&Blue Nation, all right? So you better sound – okay, yeah, make sure you need to be like, hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing out there? You like, hey, guys, nothing much. We don't do that up in here, okay?
Yeah. I got you. I'll take it up a notch.
There you go. I like that. How about them Cowboys? Yeah.
There you go.
What up, big dog? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey.
Just been working on stuff for the site all day, some video stuff and all that fun jazz. Helped you post your article earlier as well. So if you guys haven't checked that out already on the DallasProspect.com, Big Game James has an article on Xavier Woods. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge to the other listeners.
Yeah, matter of fact, Derek, I was going to go ahead and tell you, could you just go ahead and explain to the listeners and watchers what we're trying to do here at the Dallas Prospect?
Yeah, so the Dallas Prospect is a kind of network of, like an independent network of sports writers, podcasters, video content producers as well. And the idea is that we want to be the best independent network for sports in Dallas. And for some people, some people have their strength in writing. Others do more on-air stuff like you guys and what I'm sort of branching into now. So it's basically just a way for kind of everyone to come together on one platform, makes a great website and everything for, Cowboy fans, sports fans in general, like particularly for Dallas teams, whether it be the Mavericks, Rangers, Stars, whatever. But, we have something for everyone. We also have pop culture content as well. But, yeah, the goal is just to grow and to put forth the best content and real, honest content that we can. So that's kind of the vision. And things are taking form with that in recent weeks.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you can go visit the DallasProspect.com to see everything that Derek was talking about. And Silver and Blue Nation is happy to be a part of it. And Big Game James, did you have something that you wanted to ask Derek about the Cowboys?
Well, we're going to jump right on. Since you're on the line, Derek, I got a few people talking in on the page. And what's up, everybody? It's a lot of people getting a lot of action on Silver and Blue Nation, so I'd like to give a lot of respect to everybody. Ron, Jessica, Eric, Annette, Katina, Dino, Receiver, Willie. There's a lot of people in here, so I love the action in here, so let's get straight to it. Derek, there's quite a few people. There was a Zeke video that just came out that, it looks like Zeke was rededicating himself, going hard in the video. I think it was about a minute video showing his rededication. I got Dana asking, what do you think about the video about, Zeke putting out that he's working hard? I'm going to ask you, Derek, what do you think about Zeke? Do you think I always felt like, even though Zeke is kind of a clown dude, he's just a silly dude. He's just a goofy dude. That's just Zeke what it is. But at the end of the day, I feel like Zeke is a competitor and he brings it. Do you feel like Zeke is more motivated for what happened last year and he's going to really bring it to the table and show some people that what he's really made of this year?
I think he has to, right? I mean, last year, we all know how much this team was hurt by his 6-game suspension. Not just that he had to serve it, but particularly where in the season that he had to serve it. And if he doesn't miss those 6 games, I think this is still an 11-win team last year. There were a couple games I don't know that it would have changed the outcome. But other games, I think it was massive out there because you saw the first probably 2-3 games after he went out. It's like the coaching staff didn't even know how to adjust for him not being there. They were still trying to kind of run the same offense and same game plan. And that doesn't always work when you don't have comparable talent. So it's one of those things where I think, even if he is a guy who tends to kind of clown a little bit, be a little silly, I do think that, like you said, he's a competitor, and I think he probably understands, and I would hope he understands, that his suspension is more than anything probably what cost us from going back to the playoffs this year. So I have to think that in light of that, he's going to be more motivated this upcoming season. It's not going to be like last year where there were a lot of reports early in the year. He came in a little bit overweight and everything. He said for the first few weeks, he didn't have the same burst. I don't think that's going to be a problem this year. I think you're going to see a more focused Ezekiel Elliott.
I will definitely tend to agree with that. I feel like he's going to come in 100% in shape. I think he's going to come chiseled, strong, cut up, monstrous, and I feel like he's going to have a really good, solid year. I never questioned Zeke's competitiveness, but just like I said, I don't make any excuse for anybody. You're 21 years old. You're going to make mistakes. We all did at 21 years old. But at the end of the day, I feel like I think he's learned his lesson. He has a good parent background, so I don't feel like he's going to fall into those same type of traps because he can't afford to, because if he does, he could be banned from the league forever. So he has to keep that in the back of his mind that this is not a game, and he has to watch who he keeps his company with and who he hangs around, because at any given time, anybody can say anything, and then it can start all over again.
Hey, Derek, real quick before we let you off here, can we get your thoughts on the hottest topic right now, and that's Earl Thomas to the Cowboys? Everybody wants to know. Do you think there's any chance of that happening? And if there is, what would need to be done?
I think there's still a chance for it. I feel less certain about it now than I did probably a week or so ago. But I still think that there's a chance that something comes up draft day where Dallas will look to trade up for someone if they don't feel that that's there, whether that means taking like a Derwin James at 19 or earlier, then maybe at that point they're able to kind of roll the dice and make a move for Thomas, because we know Seattle's hurting for draft picks in the first couple of rounds. So they might be able to swing something then where maybe it's, a second round pick or something if they really feel that it's necessary to do that. I would love to have Earl Thomas's leadership and ability leading the back of the secondary unit. I think he's exactly the kind of thing they need, and I think it makes sense right now from a timing perspective to do it. The question is whether they feel the price is too high, or if it would, if you're better off just getting like a Derwin James and trading up a little bit in the first round instead of taking a chance on a 29-year-old safety who then wants an extension to be the highest paid safety in the league.
I'm with you on the veteran leadership. I think that's probably the biggest thing he would bring to the team. We were all kind of talking about that in a group text the other day. That would be the thing. He could take this young secondary and kind of mold it as his own, and lead them. So that would be the thing I think we would look for the most if we were to get somebody like Earl Thomas or even a Tyrann Mathieu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Tyrann Mathieu, we know he signed with Houston 1 year, $7 million.
Oh, he did sign.
He did.
That's
he signed yesterday. If I had known $7 million was all it was going to take to get him, I would have actually probably pushed harder for Dallas to get him. But Dallas never showed any interest in him, and I gotta wonder if they knew the price tag could be so affordable. Because the assumption was when he didn't re-sign with Arizona, or not re-sign, when he was cut from Arizona because they didn't want to pick up that option worth close to, I think it was $19 million or something. The assumption was he wanted to recoup that contract or that loss. So I think that's why some teams steered clear, and then he signs 1 year for Houston for $7 million. So missed opportunity there, perhaps.
I think that deal made sense because I'm pretty sure that the Cardinals, and I don't know this for sure, I don't have these facts in front of me. This is something that I've been told by someone else who said they had these facts, that the Cardinals still would owe him $4 million on the season. So maybe, he could balance that out and get the difference from another team to basically still get the same kind of money, because the Cardinals will still owe him some.
Well, if you look at it at the end of the day, I don't just think that the Honey Badger, as much as I love him as a player, he just didn't fit us. Number one, he's 5'9", he's 186 pounds. We already have a guy named Xavier Woods that fits what he brings to the table. And if you looked at Tyron's career, he was never a great tackler. He was the biggest thing. He was that like kind of a playmaker, but we need somebody who can tackle. We need people that can tackle in our secondary. And I just don't feel like even if he was available, he just didn't really fit the Cowboys mold regardless. He just didn't fit. We already have a players like him. So why would you spend $7 million to stunt a growth of a Xavier Woods when you already have that type of player in the fold? That just didn't make sense. So I'm glad they kind of just steered away from him.
Real quick, I'm jumping in here in the comment section because we got a ton of them flying in, rolling in. YouTube,
everybody's
Facebook
in here
Live.
fire.
But we got this guy in here. His name is Chad.
He's a troll.
He is just going crazy. I don't know if he's an Eagles fan or what. He's saying our show sucks.
Who cares?
He's attacking our people in our comment section.
That means he likes us.
That means he's about to get blocked.
No, we don't need to block him. That means he likes us. If somebody's jumping on a show and sitting there saying you suck and you're this and that means you like us. So, Chad, we appreciate you. We appreciate you tuning in for the show. We know you don't have a show, and we know you got nothing to do, so we do appreciate you, Chad, for being on the show. We know you do love us, because if you didn't love us, you wouldn't be in here talking trash right now. So we appreciate the haters. We love the haters. Stay in here. Stay tuned, because deep down inside, we know you're a lover and not a hater. So come on to the team.
How about them Cowboys?
That's right. All right, Derek, we appreciate your time. I know you said that you didn't have much time, so I'm sure we'll be catching up with you. You can tell everybody where they can find you and what you got going on
and what's going down. Tell us, Derek, what's going down this Thursday, man.
Yeah, so this Thursday at Mexico Restaurant and Club in Plano, Texas, we're having a Dallas Prospect happy hour event. We're going to have Law Nation, Big Game James, myself, and Computer from 36 Mafia as a special guest. All in-house for a live remote and Q&A session. Just tell them you're there for the Dallas Prospect, and you'll get happy hour drink prices all night. And entrees as low as $5 or $6. We'll have T-shirts. We'll have a nice time. Just come out and hang out with us. And we're trying to build something. This is kind of the launching point for that.
Awesome stuff. So look forward to seeing that on Thursday night. We appreciate the time, Derek.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I appreciate you, big dog.
All right, that was Derek Kirby from the DallasProspect.com. If you're just joining us, this is the Silver and Blue Nation Live podcast. We're talking nothing but Cowboys, and we're here every single Sunday.
Yes, and we got a full house. I love it.
The 6:30 and 7 o'clock hour.
We got a full house today.
A lot of people in here. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in.
Love y'all today.
If you've been commenting during that phone call, the odds are that I missed it. So send that comment through again.
Questions.
If we missed the topic that you want to talk about, send it right to us, and we will get to that for you. So
Danny Guzman's got a quick one.
Yeah, go ahead. Dive in there, and I'll go ahead and get us set up for our topics.
Okay. So Danny Guzman has a quick question out there. He says, should we pick up Kenny V, Vacario from the Saints, or Navarro Bowman? That's kind of tough.
Why not both?
Right.
Actually, I thought Bowman signed with someone.
No, Bowman's a free agent right now.
So was that last year then that he signed with the Raiders?
Yeah, that was just kind of like a half-year deal. I was still like Bowman in the fold. It looked like he still has a little bit of juice, and I like the veteran leadership. But if I were to pick between both of them, I would go with Vacario because he's younger. He's only had the one contract with the Saints. I guess I'm a little biased because I'm a Texas fan. I don't think Vacario will make our defense go to elite levels, but it will be a good addition. So I would go with the younger player and younger addition with the Vacario than a Navarro Bowman on my end.
Yeah, I like Vaccaro. I've even mentioned him before a couple weeks ago on a show we've done before, how I would like Vaccaro because we have up until now we're the only team that hasn't made any moves in free agency.
Right. It's
I
crazy.
thought we would have to address either the safety or the wide receiver position before we go into this draft, which is still a possibility. And you know how the Cowboys are. They're just waiting for the second or third waves. Right. And so far, Vaccaro's still out there. So that's definitely an opportunity and a chance to get a guy who's a little bit more of a veteran now. And, he's had some success in the league. And I really liked him coming out of college. He was a first-round pick. Like you said, he's a Texas guy like Earl Thomas. So I think that he would be a good one to take a chance on, and you could get him for like a mid-tier deal.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have to spend a lot of money for Vacario. So
a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yeah, if we could get him for a 1 or 2 year deal, let him be a bridge. And like I said, it's not like he's an old guy. I think he's only like 25 years old. He's only had a one contract. with the Saints. So he's still young and he could still be in the fold. So that's something I would definitely look into. Linebacker is a big need, as we know. Anthony Hitchens signed with the Kansas City Chiefs, so a linebacker has become even a bigger need. It was a big need for me in the very beginning, even when we had Hitchens. Even if we would have re-signed Hitchens, it still was a big need for me. Now it's an even bigger glare for me because, as you see, Kyle Wilber also went over to the Raiders. Although he wasn't anybody special to me, he still played the linebacker position. So we are super, super thin at the linebacker position, so I think that we really need to attack that in the first few rounds of the draft. I don't know if we're going to get anybody in free agency, but we definitely need to attack the linebacker position in the draft.
Yeah, we will dive a little bit more into the draft and positions of need as we go along in the show. And keep the comments rolling in. We appreciate it. Jason the Champ Smith, he says, love the show, my brothers. We appreciate that comment. Appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you're watching all the time and you're with us every Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Calvin White over here on YouTube Live says great content. We appreciate that, Calvin.
Appreciate you.
Hopefully, if you guys have any suggestions for us too, let us
have
in
it. There. Let us know.
We're always trying to come up with new content ideas. Yeah. I mean, we already talked about maybe doing some skits or something like that.
Oh, the skits are coming. Hey, the skits are coming.
So look for
the skits are coming.
You look for some cool content coming from us out here at some point. Maybe throughout the summer, we'll be dropping some stuff because we need something to do throughout the summer. Wiggy Bell tunes in on YouTube Live with the clapper hands. We appreciate that, giving us a big clap. So let's go ahead and jump in then into some of the hot topics right now as the comments are coming in, because then we'll get to those. And give us a like and share, too, if you like the video. And Orlando Scandrick has been cut. So what does this mean for the Cowboys? What are they going to do about filling that position? And does it really hurt the team? And what's it do with the salary cap? All those things.
It definitely doesn't hurt us. I believe that as long as he's a post-1 June cut, we say 3-point-something million on the cap. It's a 1.3 or 4 cap hit to us. I don't feel like it's a big deal at all. It was going to happen. It needed to be happening. We're solid where we have Jordan Lewis. We have Owuzie. We have Anthony Brown. Byron Jones could possibly moving down the corner. Xavier Woods, even Jeff Heath. We still have Kayvon Frazier. We got guys in the fold, so I don't think that we're sitting there lacking, and all those guys are young. You don't have any guys that are super old. So, I feel like it was time for Orlando to go. He put 10 years in. Great salutes to Orlando. He was our kind of like our angry, aggressive leader that we kind of needed. But that star kind of faded with him, and that kind of dogness kind of wore off. So it was kind of like once that wore off, it was time for him to go. So much luck for wherever Orlando Scandrick was going. Big ups to the service he put in for 10 years for the Dallas Cowboys, straight up for real. And, it's just time to move on. Now we got younger guys, and younger guys need to take the step up. And Marquez White, who was on the practice squad last year, I think he can be a good addition. And let's see what happens in the draft. I think we're solidified in the secondary. Earl Thomas would be great in my eyes for the leadership that me and you were talking about. But at the end of the day, I like our young talent. I think we'll be okay in the secondary.
I do think we need that veteran leader. Did you ever really like Scandrick, though? I never really was a big fan.
I'm be honest with you. When Scandrick came in along with Mike Jenkins, I like Mike Jenkins a lot more than Scandrick. And I feel like, Scandrick had the attitude. I think that's the only thing not to say the only thing I like. I think the thing that I liked about Scandrick was he had that little attitude, and everybody knows that he had that attitude. And that's what really made me kind of be like, I liked him because he would get the attitude on the defense when we were kind of lacking. He would have that funky attitude, and I liked that. So I think that's what I really liked about Scandrick. But if you're looking at the overall cornerback position, what he brought to the table, people forget Orlando Scandrick used to get burnt like toast a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
He used to get killed. Orlando Scandrick used to get murdered. But the problem is when we started losing all our other cornerbacks, he became the elite dog. So we kind of held him in a higher stature than he really was because we had no other top corners around him.
Right. Okay, so another quick nugget topic, I guess. We probably won't go too deep into this one, but just notes that happened throughout the week since the last time we did the show last Sunday. And if you just tuned in, we're here every Sunday with you. And you can listen to us on iTunes and Google Play and SoundCloud afterwards if you want. Or you can rewatch the video, or right now you're tuning in on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. You can rewatch it there as well. And then also go give us a like and a follow on Instagram and Twitter. We would certainly appreciate that. Brian Price signs the 2-year deal, defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? I mean, like, What does is okay? I'm trying to think of how should I phrase that.
Really
question.
means nothing.
You know what I mean.
I will. Him signing, I think it helps us because Brian Price, when we brought him over from Green Bay, I was a little suspect because he was playing in the 3-4 and he was a one tech. I wanted to see what he would do in the 4-3. But actually, after his first couple games, he was very serviceable. I think he was like about 6'2". He's 330 pounds, so he's got a big body. And he actually played good in a couple of games. Then he got hurt. So I was actually missing him when he did get hurt because he was actually stuffing the middle what he was supposed to do. So I'm not jumping up for joy doing cartwheels that we signed him back in the fold, but I will say that's a solid one tech that we do need in the fold. So just in case that we fall out, injury, anything like that, it's a guy that can stick right in and he has a good size. So I'll look at it in that aspect.
All right, we'll do one more topic here that we have pre-built for the show, and then we'll jump back into some comments.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Watkins apparently was attempted. Well, the Cowboys apparently attempted to sign Sammy Watkins and offered him $16 million. So Dez is making what, $17 million now?
Yes.
So what's that tell you about the Dez Bryant situation and what we value a receiver at? Because you don't really like Sammy Watkins.
I don't like him at all, and I can't believe that. I'm wondering if they're lying about that. I would love to be in the fly on the wall and see if they really offered Sammy Watkins $16 freaking million, because there's no way in hell that I'm offering Sammy Watkins $16 million per. You're crazy and you're stupid in your brain if you're offering Sammy Watkins $16 million. So I don't even know what to say about that situation. Sammy Watkins has even played 16 games a whole season. I don't even think he's played a whole season yet. So for you to throw that kind of money out to a receiver who hasn't really done anything in the NFL is ludicrous. To me, it was a little bit of disrespect if you're talking about Dez Bryant because of the work he's put in. He's proven and done it. So for you to throw money out to a receiver who hasn't proven anything, you have a receiver who has done it and been doing it at a high level. That's totally kind of disrespectful to Dez Bryant. But we'll see how the Dez situation goes, G. I honestly feel like 2018 is his last year here. I think 2019 you'll see the move on from Dez Bryant.
Oh, you think 2019 will be Dez Bryant's? So
yeah,
I think this will be his last year.
I think this will be his last year. I think Dallas will keep him this year unless something crazy happens. I think Dallas will keep him this year, but I feel like, and I said this mid-season last year, that contract was going to be addressed, and nobody was listening to me when I said that. What about that $16 million? Everybody's like, oh, whatever. Now it's in our face, and I told you it was going to be in our face because I told you that production was going to drop, and when that production drops at $16 million, people are going to start talking, and nobody going to throwing up the X anymore because $16 million. Just like with Brandon Carr, we weren't tripping off Brandon Carr when he dropped down to $5 million. We were tripping off Brandon Carr when he was making $10 million and getting burnt like toast.
Right, we talked about that a lot. So you can kind of dive into some comments if you want for a sec while I set up this other topic. And just one more quick nugget, since we are talking about wide receivers. Ryan Switzer was in the news. He got married this week.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and give him a big old...
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Big shout-outs to Ryan Switzer. He looks like he's kind of wild. I hope his marriage lasts, and I'm not throwing anything out there on Ryan Switzer, big dog, I promise you, but you just look like you're kind of a wild dude, so I don't know if your marriage is going to last long. Now, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a marriage counselor, Ryan Switzer. I promise you I'm not. But it just seems like you're a wild dude, and I wish the best for you. I hope it works, and do great things.
Let's go ahead and give him a round of applause. Congratulations, Ryan Switzer, on getting married. You see anything interesting in the comments over there?
Yeah, I got Steven Delson, author. I think that's the name. What's up with Randy Gregory? Shout out to you, Mr. Gregory. Mr. Author, I'm sorry, he's asking about Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
Threw the name out there. My fault, Mr. Author. I mean, honestly, I don't know what's up with Randy Gregory. He was up for reinstatement last year. He still hasn't done it. I think the biggest thing we need to just worry about is him, being on the right track in his life. We shouldn't count anything for Randy Gregory right now. Any Cowboys fan should just throw Randy Gregory out your mind. Do not think about Randy Gregory. Do not talk about Randy Gregory. Because if you get your hopes up for this, you might get just crash burn. So just let it go. Don't worry about him and just take it as a surprise if he's reinstated. You know what I mean? Take it as a good nugget.
Yeah, kind of like
take it as a good nugget.
Like I said last week, because we were talking about this last week too. Like, have the same expectations that you had for like Jalen Smith.
Right.
You didn't really expect him to play. If he does, great. Does, if he didn't, you didn't expect him to play. So
you didn't trip.
It's all right. Because you kind of go into it thinking that he won't play. You know
Job wants glory hole.
Job wants some glory hole.
Yeah, he wants some glory hole. Give him some glory hole.
And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole. And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't.
Oh. Just appreciate everybody tuning in. If we didn't get to your comments yet, just stick around with us. We are going to be getting to your comments, but right now we're still just kind of going through some of the hot topics of the week right now, and you guys are going to like these topics. So let's stick to those, and then we'll go crazy on the comments as soon as we get through some of these before we jump off here. We'll still be here with you for, I'd say, at least probably about another 30, 40 minutes. So
yeah,
let's move on to another topic then. So a guy that you like, Eric Ebron, is out there on the market. So what do you think the Cowboys should do there? As far as
hell yeah,
you want the Cowboys to sign Eric Ebron?
I wouldn't mind the Cowboys signing him. I think and I heard quite a few people say to me, like, what has he ever done? It doesn't matter what he's done. He has had a little bit of injury bug, but Eric Ebron is a good tight end. He maybe didn't reach his full potential at Detroit, but guess what? It is Detroit. I think they should be able to look at the numbers and see if what numbers he's talking about. The kid, he's like, 25? He came out early. The kid is still young, great size. You can match him up with a corner or a linebacker, and he will tear them to pieces. Cowboys, look into it. We don't have anybody. Don't bring up to me no Rico Gathers. People, please be quiet about Rico Gathers. He has done nothing, okay? I love what he looked at like in the preseason, but he has not played in regular season. I've seen Eric Ebron play in NFL games, G. You feel me? I haven't seen Rico Gathers play anything. Right. So let's go with the tight end that's already proven and done something, because we need a tight end that can stretch the field right now, not somebody who we think can do it or maybe can do it. How about getting somebody that we know possibly can do it right now, because that's what we need.
All right, well, then let's take a short break from our topic list, and let's go ahead and take a comment or two. We'll go ahead and give some attention to YouTube Live over here. We got Wiggy Bell. He says, who do you think will be the number 2 receiver this season?
Number 2 receiver, Terrence Williams.
I was thinking maybe Dez.
I would love that, but you know, Dez, you know damn well this is what it is. As much as we love this and that to happen, unless they make a major move with Dez, and they haven't done anything in free agency, they haven't made any kind of moves. They've been super dead quiet. So what would led me to believe that they're going to cut Dez Bryant right now? It just looks like they're going to be cool with what they're at. We're going to see another season with Dez Bryant, Cole Beasley, Terrence Williams, Ryan Switzer, Noah Brown, and maybe a couple draft picks. That's what it looks like it's going to be this year, and that's what we're going to have to roll with. I told you they need to get filled. What's that?
I was just going to say, I told you I was really frustrated with that lineup. I said we needed to see a change.
You're right. I agree.
Because
it's boring. It's whack.
You and me watched every single Cowboys game together last season.
Yeah.
Other than the Falcons game you went to.
Right.
We watched every game together.
And it was boring as hell.
And what were we talking about every week? How bad these receivers were.
Right.
So how is that not more of a priority?
Right. And see, and everybody was talking, you know how everybody was talking about, well, 2016 they did really good, only because we had Zeke 16 games. We had Ezekiel Elliott 16 games. We had everybody on the offensive line. It was the perfect season, and that's why it worked. But guess what? When some things went wrong, you can see the reality of our receiving core. It's not that great. Just like when people are saying, Jay, you shouldn't be talking about Cole Beasley, this and that. I'm talking about Cole Beasley, okay? He's an okay receiver, all right? He's 29 years old. You need to get something for him before you use a couple more years on this dude. And then what? You're wasting it. Get something for this dude. You have Ryan Switzer. Start being proactive and thinking future, not thinking now.
I think more and more people are starting to lean your way with that opinion on Cole Beasley.
Right, because I mean, come on, you know your damn self. Is Cole Beasley special?
Well, it's not even that. Well, I mean, no, he's not that special, but it's also the fact that you've got a double of him sitting on your bench, way younger.
And he does the exact same thing.
Yeah, so why not have – you don't need 2 of those guys because, as you saw last year, only one's really getting on the field.
Exactly.
Over here on Facebook Live, we've got Marcy Shabazz tuning in and giving us a great question that's going to lead to a next topic, actually, so that's perfect transition.
All right.
Marcy says, y'all think Irvin is going to at least be considered by other teams, which leads to the question, will the Cowboys lose David Irving?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have a guy that's 24, I think he's only 25 years old now, 6'7", 280 pounds, and you're looking at a second rounder because they put the second round tender for him, yes, other teams are going to look at him, and they've already been talking about Eberflus, who he went over to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts just traded their picks with the Jets, so they're going to have an opportune time. Now, if you're the if you're the Indianapolis Colts, G, why wouldn't you go after David Irving? 6'7", 280-pound, 25-year-olds. Eberflus is trying to build up a defense. Why wouldn't you put that guy in the end? He's already going to come in starting. He's already going to come in being the man. He's already going to come in getting a decent contract. So why wouldn't you do it if you're the Colts? And the Cowboys seem like they're okay with taking the second-round tender for him.
So let's break down the second-round tender. So when you put a second-round tender on a player, that means another team can offer him a deal, and then you would get the opportunity to match that or let that team have him, and you would get their second-round pick if you don't match the offer.
Right.
So that's what we're thinking. The Colts might want to offer him some kind of deal.
I mean, why wouldn't you if you're the Colts? Because you look at your defense.
Well, it depends on if they value him as a second-round pick or not.
I think they do. Why wouldn't you? If you're the Colts, right, and you're looking at your lineup right now, you got a lot of young players on that defense. And what has the Colts' problem always been? Interior defense. Their problem has always been interior defense. They can never stop somebody in the middle. David Irvin will be a perfect addition for them. So, and they got picks to lose. They have plentiful because they were terrible. So it's easy for them to give up that pick for David Irvin. So I could see this really happening, him going to the Colts. You know what I mean? But my thing is, if we get that second-round pick from the Colts, the Cowboys have to make a move. We have to move up in the draft. We have to move up and go get somebody. We cannot stay at 19 getting an extra pick from the Colts. We have to make a move. So that's the thing with me. If we don't make any move in free agency, G, and we have these picks, and let's say we let go of David Irvin and get another second-round pick, we have to hit on this draft. Like, we cannot miss on players. We need game changers in the first 3 to 4 rounds, the guys that are going to come right in and start. Not guys that we think are going to play, guys that are going to come in instantly and make an impact, because if not, that's a failed draft and that's a failed year.
Absolutely. You definitely want to get a guy that's going to come in and impact your team right away, unlike what we saw out of a first-round pick last year and later in the round, like with Taco. That's not Taco's fault or anything. I'm just saying, when you pick a little later in that first round, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a surefire impact like you would with a Zeke or something.
Right.
You're talking about getting up in the top 10, though, when you talk about Zeke or something. So that's kind of not really compared the same way. Jessica Haggerty says David Irving isn't going anywhere.
Well, I don't know.
If he doesn't, that just means nobody would be offering him anything.
I don't really believe that because, like I said, you got all these mediocre players or very average players getting these huge contracts, right? Paul Richardson goes to the Redskins and gets a 5-year, $40 million contract. He didn't do anything with the Seahawks, and he got paid. So you're going to tell me David Irving is not going to be able to go to the Colts if they offer him something and is not going to get paid? Yes, he may have some loyalty to the Cowboys, but money talks. This is the NFL, and these guys are trying to get contracts. And at the end of the day, they may have some kind of loyalty to the team, but they play a very physical sport, and they're going to chase that money more than anything else, more than loyalty. So people who think that these players are going to give these hometown discounts, ask yourself, if you played in the NFL and you were getting your body beat up and bruised, would you give a hometown discount? No, the hell you wouldn't.
Will the Cowboys be signing a free agent?
No. Well, I think we actually might sign this Cameron Fleming because they already talked about him like maybe a month and a half before, and now he's having an official visit. I think.
Well, wait a minute. Right now, at this moment, the Cowboys have not signed any free agents.
I'm just saying this might be the one guy that they will go after.
Let's restart it because I want to make sure we get this as a clip. Right. Will the Cowboys sign a free agent?
Yeah, I think they will sign one. Maybe 2. They're going to be bargain basement guys, but they're going to sign people. They ain't going to be no big name guy. I think we probably might as well just let the Earl Thomas ship sail because these guys aren't doing anything. Only way I think that we might bite on Earl Thomas is if they get rid of David Irvin and they get that second-round pick. But it looks like these guys are really content. Stephen Jones is really saying it. And you know when people say they're calling your bluff, it doesn't look like he's bluffing. It looks like what he's saying in the air is really true. He's saying we don't value one text like that. That means we're not going to draft him. We're not going to overpay for players. That means we're not going to go in free agency. And this looks like it's being true to what he's saying.
Appreciate everybody who's tuned in so far. Give us a like and a share if you like the video. This is the Silver and Blue Nation live podcast, streaming live on the EBSN online Facebook and YouTube page from the EBSN studios in Columbus, Ohio. And we're also over on our Silver and Blue Nation YouTube page as well.
What's up, everybody?
And we appreciate everybody who's tuned in.
A lot of action today. I love y'all.
There's a lot of action. A lot of people in here. A lot of people comment. It's a beautiful Sunday.
It's a beautiful day. I love y'all today.
We're getting back close to football.
A lot of action in here today. I'm excited.
I think everybody's just kind of in a better mood and just wants to do more stuff when the weather gets better.
It's a nice day, so people around here in Silver and Blue, I just want to give a shout-out to everybody that's been tuning in. The action is great. I'm looking at the viewership. I love it. It must be a beautiful day. It's Ice Cube all day. Today was a good day.
We're picking up steam over on YouTube as well, so if you are watching this on Facebook, make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe to us there too. That way you just can't miss us because we're on every single thing that you have on your phone.
Everything.
Silver and Blue Nation is just popping up left and right.
Left and right. Right and left.
And you can also go over to the Dallas Prospect too, DallasProspect.com. You can check out that website where you can find Big Game James articles, previous clips from Silver and Blue Nation shows, topics, all the latest and greatest Cowboys news. Law Nation's involved. Everybody loves his film breakdown and that golden voice that he has. Don't forget to check out that show also on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
We'll have that one. Not this week because you want to go ahead and let them know what you're doing here in Texas Thursday night?
Oh, yeah. So Derek Kirby was on here from Dallas Prospect, but I will be down there this Thursday coming up at Mexico in Plano, Texas. I will be down there with Derek Kirby, Dallas Prospects, Law Nation, computer from 3-6 Mafia. We're going to have a good thing going down. I think it's going to be around 7:30. Half off on drinks. So if you're in the Plano, Texas area, Thursday, 7:30, get down there. Check us out. We're going to have a good time. Big Game James, Derek Kirby, Dallas Prospects, Law Nation, computer from 3-6 Mafia. It's going down. We're going to have a great time. So make sure you check it out. We're just trying to make moves. You feel what I mean?
When you say check that out, because obviously I won't be able to attend because I just cannot come down at that time. But when you say check that out, where's that going to be at? Is that going to be on YouTube Live or Facebook Live? Or?
That's going to be on YouTube Live. I believe it's going to be on the Dallas Prospect page, and I believe it's going to be streaming live on Law Nation page as well. So make sure you tune in to Law Nation's page on Thursday evening and Dallas Prospect. Because it's going to be a huge event. We're trying to make things happen, trying to make moves. We're, like I said, Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James, Law Nation, Dallas Prospect. We're trying to make this like a team, whole collab of just Dallas news all day, all night for you guys.
And also, it's all coming together. It's looking real nice right now, and it wouldn't be happening without all of these viewers as well. So we appreciate everybody who tunes in every week with us.
And we love you haters.
Always see all these same names. I mean, if you guys want to send me a friend request, you can.
Don't send me one.
You can go like my producer G page or send me a request because
don't send me a friend request.
I think it's important to have that relationship with you guys. I mean,
it's like I'm playing
because I love everybody who tunes in every week. I certainly appreciate it.
Ron Smith got a question.
Yeah, let's get a question, then let's dump back to a topic, and then we're just going to go hard on the questions in the comments. Okay,
Ron Smith asked a question. He asked me, do we think the Cowboys would be aggressive in the draft? One can only hope. This is one of the funniest years I've seen in the draft with the Cowboys. I'm not going to say I usually know the thought pattern of what the Cowboys are going to do, but you always kind of get a sense of what the Cowboys are going to do. But this year, I have no sense at all what the Cowboys are going to do. I'm going to be very honest, G. I have no sense at all of what we're going to do. Are we going to be aggressive or are we going to trade picks? Because I've never really seen us be this dead in free agency.
Exactly.
I've never seen us just sit there and not do anything. So this is all kind of new to me, and I don't know the thought pattern of what they're trying to do. So I'll be honest with you, Ron. I don't know if we're going to be aggressive because I've never seen the Cowboys do this ever really in free agency since it's been going on.
And that's kind of what I was saying before, too. Like, we posed this question last week on the show also. What position do you think the Cowboys need to go after, in free agency? That way, because every year what they do, and this has kind of been the Cowboys' plan for the last few years, they'll plug a hole or two in free agency. That way,
right.
they're not going into the draft with a need right there.
Right.
So they don't have to draft for need. They can draft best player available. Well, you're not seeing that year. So I'm wondering if maybe the need and best player available kind of balance out here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like as far as if we go and grab a linebacker, that also could be the best player available and also fill the need. You see what I'm saying? So that's a possibility, maybe how they're looking at it a little bit. I don't know.
It's a tough situation. I can kind of maybe agree with that. I think the biggest thing is that 19th pick is such a tricky pick. You know, you don't really know what you're going to do with that 19th pick. Do you want to trade up? Do you want to trade down? It's such a fluky pick. And then you got 10 picks this year. And then that thing hanging over our head with David Irving. What's going to really happen with that? So it's kind of like, it seems like the Cowboys are in limbo of what they're really going to do. But at the end of the day, it looks like our draft is is going to be our biggest free agency. It looks like our draft is going to be our gold mine. So if we're going to really go hard in the draft, it looks like that we're going to do that. Then, like I said, Stephen Jones, Willie McClay, you have to hit on your draft picks. You have to. I don't like the fact that we have to another year feel like we have to rely on rookies, because that's a whole bunch of picks, and all those picks aren't guaranteed to make the team. Just because you draft all those picks don't mean they make the team. You got sixth and seventh rounders that may not even make the team. So you have to get guys. You have to hit on this draft. And really, you're still relying on rookies to get you over the hump. You need some kind of veterans and a dog type veteran to get you over the hump. You don't need 5 or 6 or 7 of them. You just need 1 or 2 to sprinkle with your team, with your veterans that you already have, and then add with the draft. So that's my problem with this. I feel like we need to get one game-changing free agent that will really kind of just take us over the hump for leadership. Like we were talking about, leadership. I think that's the biggest thing Dallas is missing in the locker room.
Certainly.
We don't have the leadership. I know we look at Sean Lee. I know we look at Jason Witten, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't look at those guys from my perspective, and it's no disrespect to them, as, oh, those are our leaders. I don't feel like everybody just rallies around Jason Witten. I don't know if everybody just rallies around Sean Lee. That's just my personal opinion about it. I don't know if they do that.
I can agree with you a little bit more on Sean Lee there, but I do believe guys do rally around Jason Witten. But I don't know about Sean Lee. I mean, no one really knows, but that's just.
But you feel what I'm saying, though?
Looking in, yeah. Man, I had a question in my head, and then I slipped my mind. I hate when that happens.
I seen you thinking. I seen you contemplating.
I'm always cutting somebody off because
you got to get it out.
Yeah, because it's like, and my girlfriend said that I cut people off. Because
you try to get that thought out so quick, because you know it's gonna be gone in 2 seconds.
Exactly. She heard me talking on the phone the other day to Derek. I told you about Derek,
right?
And as soon as he finished his statement, I jumped right in with something different. But it's because I'm like, if I do not say this, I'm going to.
You're going to be sitting there like, and he's going to say, you got anything to say? You be like, no. And then as soon as he hangs up, you're like, ooh.
It'll come up
there
later.
It is.
And the moment passed and all that. But I do have something lined up for us right here. But before we jump, because after we get to a couple of these little nuggets, and I got one last topic to really dig into, I guess, and then a couple little nuggets.
Okay.
Before we go hard and getting into these comments and everybody who's watching, which we appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
So Skandrick's cut. Byron Jones. Is Byron Jones going to be moved to corner, and will he be the slot man? Who's going to be that slot man? Will Byron Jones be in the slot?
I hope they put Byron Jones in the slot. I don't know if they're actually going to do it. I hope they do. But are they going to do it? No. See, here's the problem with this situation with the Byron Jones thing. It's frustrating to me, G, is that people are like, okay, put Byron Jones on the outside and put Jordan Lewis on the slot. You're only doing that because you're looking at Jordan Lewis's size. You're looking at Jordan Lewis that he's 5'10 and a half, maybe 5'11", and you're like, okay, well, since he's smaller, you naturally put him in the slot. But I keep going back to the Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie and the Jackrabbit. That boy, Janoris Jenkins, is little. He plays the outside because he's a dog. He's not a slot corner. You know what I'm saying? They put Cromartie in the middle. He's 6'2". He was a better slot corner. He was playing against Beasley and was locking him down. You know what I mean? He could play that position. And when you seen Byron Jones, when they moved Byron Jones in certain packages and they dropped him down in the slot, he was badass. Byron Jones had badass numbers when he played in the slot position. Let him play the slot. Keep Jordan Lewis on the outside because that's what he is. He is not a slot corner, in my opinion. He's an outside. Keep him there and let him work.
Yeah, I've always thought he was better in man coverage. I think anybody who ever watched a game could see with their own eyes, which is why we were always, bamboozled or baffled, like why the coaches can't see it when all the fans can see. Byron Jones clearly was the better corner cover. Let's go ahead and hit on like a couple little quick nuggets, I guess, here before we get to diving and just going hard 100% into the comments. Let's, a couple other little nuggets. Travis Frederick had his contract restructured. That'll save $7.5 million. I'm not sure the exact specifics of the Cowboys cap numbers. You might know more about that than me. I don't know if you do or not. Do you?
I know a little bit. I know we have 4-point-something million available right now.
And that's after a restructure, right?
Well, no. When we restructure, we have more. So I think we have about $10 million now because it opened like $7 million for the open when we restructured Frederick. So we have probably about close to $9 million right now.
Yeah, I don't want to speak a ton on that because I do not know those facts, and I don't want to act like I do or something.
Right.
But I know Travis Frederick restructure did save $7.5 million. Whether that means to get, because there's a cap minimum that you have to meet every year for the league standard, and a lot of the times the Cowboys start off the offseason already over that cap, so they got to restructure to get down.
But see, that's the problem with us.
I don't know if that's a part of that restructure or not, or if they were trying to free up money to sign Martin or someone else.
Well, see, that's the problem I have with Dallas. Whenever we get a big-name player, we already, going to sign him to a 8-9 year deal, right? And then within the first 2 years, we're going to restructure his contract to open up money. And then what happens is that player gets hurt or he doesn't meet his full potential, and we cut him or he gets,
and then we
owe him money for the next 2 or 3 years, and that money is dead money. Is just sitting on the cap. So that's what frustrates me is that they automatically, whenever we got a top player, they automatically in their head are going to restructure.
Yeah, it's almost like
it's pissing me off.
They kind of pre-build that restructure into the original contract. Like, let's build this with the option to restructure later.
Exactly.
Anthony Hitchens signs with the Chiefs, so farewell to him. I always thought he was. I don't think he's a difference maker.
No, he's not a difference maker. He's a serviceable player. He's a serviceable player.
We might have been a little bit better with him when he was on the field.
Yes,
like
we were
without Sean Lee.
Right.
But he doesn't make a Sean Lee type difference. So
no,
that's fine. I mean,
I'm not paying what they paid for him, $9 million a year. He's not a $9 million linebacker.
I like to see guys go, especially guys that aren't starters, because that's where you need to really get your team built up is with the depth. And sometimes you just need a change. It don't even mean that you need a better player or that the player that you had wasn't good. Sometimes you just need a change, and that could be all it takes to put you over the hump.
Right.
You want to talk a little bit about your article that you wrote, comparing Xavier Woods to Earl Thomas, basically?
Yeah, basically, I've been on the Earl Thomas train. I'll be the first to admit that I've been on the Earl Thomas train. I believe he could bring a lot to the table. But if we didn't go after him, my article was about Xavier Woods. Why can't he be our Earl Thomas? If you look at Xavier Woods from the physical standpoint, Xavier Woods is about 5'11", about 203 pounds. He may have got a little bigger this year because that was his last year numbers. Earl Thomas, 5'10", about 208. If you look at their combine numbers, they're eerily similar in everything. Bench press, 40, cones, everything was pretty similar in what they do. Obviously, Earl Thomas was a difference maker, getting the first round, 14th pick. Xavier Woods, 6th round. But if you look at Xavier Woods' career, 14 interceptions in 4 years, which is awesome.
Ball
hawk, three-time academic All-American. So that tells me that he's a smart kid, that he can learn. And when you really watched him in his limited time, because he played 500 snaps, but if you watched him in his limited time and he played the nickel cornerback position, and he's a safety, and they're throwing him in the pinch, and he didn't look out of place. At times he did tackle high, but that was his issue coming out of college. But if you look at what he brings to the table, he is a playmaker, and I'm excited to see if he can really grasp and take over that free safety position. Let's say that Dallas does draft up and get a Derwin James, as I threw in the article. If Dallas would get a Derwin James, who's a strong safety, and then you put Xavier Woods as your free safety, you're not excited about that? I sure in the hell am. I'm real excited because now I got my cornerback set. Byron Jones can slide down at the cornerback position, and now you can bring Kayvon Frazier and Jeff Heath, who Frazier is a natural strong safety. Jeff Heath is a natural free safety. Now you can have those guys as backups. You got those two guys. If you went the Darren James route, I'm feeling good about Xavier Woods being a ball hawk because he showed it in college. And he did have the one pick, but when you saw him when he started the games, his first game he started was Philadelphia. He had 6 tackles. His second game against Atlanta, he had 5 tackles and an interception. So you've seen that when he does get the time and he does get the playing time, he shows you he can be that type of guy.
I mean, I always thought he was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look over here in the comments for a sec because we pretty much ran through all of our topics. There's still a couple little nuggets to hit, but I want to jump over here to, I think is it Jason Lopez?
Mm-hmm.
He's over here saying all you guys talk about players that didn't come to the team when they were talking about maybe bringing them in. You all excited? I can't even read your question, but I know it ends saying you don't know jack shit. I don't know if he's talking to us or someone else in the comments, but
I don't worry about that.
We know what we're talking about. So
yeah, I don't worry about that. If he's a troll, that's all good. Jump on in here, trolls. We love you.
I think he's a Cowboys fan, but I don't know if he's talking to us or if
maybe he's talking about the front office because
sure
he can't be talking about me because I'm Big Game James.
Daniel Meza is who's tuned in on Facebook Live, and everyone who's tuned in on Facebook Live, we appreciate it. Give us a like and a share into your favorite Cowboys groups. This is a Silver and Blue Nation Live podcast. We're here every Sunday. You can give us a listen on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, obviously on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. All those sources is where you can find us. Make sure you follow us on all of those so you can see all of our content all the time. And go and give us a page rating too if you could. Give us a 5-star. We'd appreciate that because we're 5 stars here.
5 stars. Let me get to Dana's question.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I wanted to follow what I was saying. Keep that Dana question right in your mind. Hold on.
I'm gonna keep it there.
Daniel Meza says, who all in the chat room is going to be at the Mexico on Thursday night where you can find the Dallas Prospect, Big Game James, Law Nation, all your favorite Cowboys personalities, analysts. You'll find everybody in there at the Mexico in Plano, Texas, correct?
Plano, Texas, big dogs.
Thursday night, March 22nd.
March 29th, 7:30.
So, like you said, computer from 3-6 Mafia.
Law Nation.
So,
Derek Kirby, me, Big Game James. You know, we're going to have a good time.
Daniel wants to know who all will be there. So
get there.
Let's go ahead and jump over to your comment.
Okay. So I'm great at remembering this. Dana asked me 7 times in here. I got you, Dana. I got you, Dana. I didn't forget about you.
We said keep them coming.
You got to keep them. I appreciate you, Dana. Keep them coming. He asked, what tight end do we like this year? He kept coming at me. I don't know if you're asking about the draft or not, but if you are asking about the draft, my number 1 tight end that I would love for the Dallas Cowboys to get is Dallas Goedert from South Dakota State. He was a former walk-on, more of a basketball player type. I love the basketball type players for tight ends. I feel like they're more effective. They have the herky-jerky type motion. They're the guys that you can throw up and they can get the ball with one hand and palm it. I get excited about those guys, especially when they play tight end. So, Dana, Dallas Goedert from North Dakota or South Dakota State is my guy that I would love for the Cowboys to pick in the NFL draft.
I guess I would say to that I like the guy from Penn State.
Gesicki?
Gesicki,
yeah. Gesicki is good. Gesicki is good, too. He's good. But I want a kind of a guy that can stretch the field, and I don't know if Gesicki does that. He's kind of a more like a Witten mode. I think we need a guy that can just really get off the line, get downfield, and we can throw it deep to him. Because too many times we've been pigeonholed so much for throwing that short underneath pattern with our tight end. We don't have a guy that we can actually throw deep to an explosive pattern. We all got excited when we saw Rico Gathers do it in the preseason, throwing deep with Cooper. But seeing it in preseason and seeing it in the regular season is 2 different things, and that's where Rico needs to step his game up and get on that field.
You know what I like best that you said, though?
What's that?
Let's go ahead and get Eric Ebron. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, Eric, that's a great pick for us.
You know what, though? Outside of him actually being on the field and playing in NFL games, I could see similarities of Rico Gathers with the injury thing.
Yeah.
That would be something I'd be a little bit worried about.
Yeah, he's got to show and prove. I mean, he took the hit from Kayvon Frazier. He's got to show he can take a hit and a football hit. Just like you said, he's got to learn how to catch the ball and take a football motion and not expose himself to those type of hits. Because pretty much when he caught that pattern over the middle, he didn't know how to get the ball down and take his head down and brace for the hit. He kind of was just like, I'm going to catch it and nobody's going to hit me. Yes, they are. It doesn't matter if it's practice or preseason. They're going to still lay the wood on you.
Man, I keep losing my train of thought, and it is annoying. But we can jump back into the comments over here because that's always what they're there for, so it's great. We got a couple of them. I mean, so many we can get to. Hopefully, we can
a
get
lot of people in
ones.
here today. I love it.
Isaac Chavez Ward says, will Chris Richards be more aggressive with the secondary? Can he avoid the Tampa 2 coverages with our slow linebackers?
Number one, we need fast linebackers. I told y'all we need to get Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech. We need to move up and get him or Roquan Smith. Either one of those two linebackers I'm happy with in that first round, but we need to get one of those two linebackers to me in this draft, and I feel like we need to move up and grab them. I lean more to Tremaine Edmonds, even though Roquan Smith is a straight dog. I worry about the size and injuries. Already has some medical flags already. As far as the Tampa 2 defense, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to let Ron Marinelli still run everything. That was the problem with Eberflus. I feel like he said he didn't want to step on Ron's toes. If you're bringing a guy like Chris Richard in there from Seattle, he was already the defensive coordinator over there. So we're going to see. You'll be able to see instantly in that first or second game who has the imprint on the defense. You'll be able to see if it's Ron Marinelli or Chris Richard. You'll be able to see instantly, and we'll see who has the control from there. But right now it's up in the air.
Muggs Maxwell on Facebook Live. Appreciate the comment. He says, it feels like our weakest position right now is linebacker. What are your thoughts? I guess that kind of ties into what you just said, really.
Yeah, I mean, we
need to get like a Tremaine Edmonds or something.
Tremaine Edmonds. I mean, right now our starting linebacking core is, Jalen Smith, Sean Lee, and Damian Wilson, and you got Hilliard Dillard. We got a bunch of no names coming off the bench, so we have no depth, and we're putting all our eggs in Jalen Smith, and even though he has, looks like he's come over the hurdle, him and Sean Lee I still have the injury bug over top of them.
Yeah,
we haven't had Sean Lee play 16 games in years since he's been there.
That knee's still pretty scary for Jalen.
That needs to be addressed, and we need two difference-making linebackers.
Russell Harrison says, since Zeke lost his bonus money because of the suspension, does that money go towards the cap or out of Jerry Jones's pocket? I don't know that. I can't give you that answer, so I'm not going to even sit there and lie to you about it. Well, I'll try to find out information. If you find out before me, hey, let me know. I can tell you that I could take a guess. I would probably say that it's coming out of Jerry's pocket because I think the cap might just be for, only for signing contracts. I don't know if the cap has to do with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it amazing how the richest team in the world has the least amount of money to spend?
Exactly.
Isn't that ironic?
Well, you know what? It's funny because I feel like we do actually have money to spend, but, Stephen Jones is super cheap, El Cheapo. Jerry Jones is Mr. Extravagant. Stephen Jones is El Cheapo. We need to find the guy that's in between to get what we need to get. Because at the end of the day, in the NFL, you need your core players, you need a couple of free agents from the outside, and you need your draft. Right now, we have our players, we have some good draft picks, but we need a couple of those difference makers, and we don't have those. And I think that might be the hindrance as far as us taking that next step as far as where we want to go.
I've got a comment from Louis Villanueva and also Buddy Johnson on YouTube Live, and they have the same question. I'm going to get to that in 1 second. I'm going to set up a little scene for it here. So if you want to maybe jump in there and give some shout-outs or take another quick question while I set that up.
All right, I can do that. I hear a lot of Zach Brown, linebacker. I don't know if we're going to grab him. We're going to see. Like
in
I
the
said,
draft?
Yeah, no, he's a linebacker. I think he was with Carolina. He was a nice little linebacker, Zach Brown. He's a nice little linebacker, but I don't really know. Job asked me about the guy from Wisconsin. I don't know if you're asking me about the tight end Fumagalli, I believe, has the 9 fingers. I remember I showed you him on the weight bench, G, and you were like, yeah, I do see the 9 fingers.
Yeah.
So I think you might be talking about him. Fumagalli, he's not bad at all. But I think if we're looking at a tight end position, we need difference makers. We don't need average tight ends. We need difference makers. We need difference makers across the board. Even though we have a solid team, I believe, on the offense and defensive side, we still need difference makers to get us over the hump. And I feel like the main reason why we need super difference makers because I feel like it's going to have to make up for the coaching that we have. I don't think we have the greatest coaching staff. So sometimes when you have great players, as we saw in 95 when we won our Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't feel like Barry Switzer was the greatest coach, but we had great players. So therefore we won a Super Bowl. I feel like this has to be the same thing, that we have to get continuously really good players to override our coaching staff at this time, because I don't feel like our coaching staff can take us to the next level if it comes into a tight game, like a playoff game, even with our players. So, and I'm going to jump in here. I got some. Let's see what else.
Yeah, keep that going. I'm almost got this question set up for you.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. So I'm looking in these questions. People bring some questions in to me. There looks like there's a few trolls in here. I think there was a Jason Lopez. I don't know if he's a troll or not. If it's good. Like I said, I love the trolls. I love people that are haters in here. It's all good. Like if you're in here and you're talking, that means you're low-key a lover and not a hater. So we definitely appreciate everything you bring to the table. Anybody you're hating on the Cowboys, we definitely love you, because if I was a hater, I would not be on your page talking trash. I would just be talking trash to you from afar.
Hey, but we appreciate you tuning in. So thank you very much, because you are supporting the cause.
You are supporting the cause, so we love you.
So I'm going to go ahead and get to that question that I've been hyping up here from Louis Villanueva and Buddy Johnson over here on YouTube Live. I'm sure it's on a lot of other people's minds as well.
Right.
It seems to be a hot topic. I mean, we all know Earl Thomas is the hot topic.
Right.
But now we can tie one of our guys to it. Would you be interested in a David Irving for Earl Thomas type of deal?
No. I would not do that. Only reason why, the main reason why I wouldn't do that, much as I love Earl Thomas, I think the age and injury really just creeps into my head about the Earl Thomas thing. Even now, even though I want Earl Thomas, I would not want to sign him more than 3 years, because the last couple of years he's been injured, and he's had some major injuries. And when you hit that 28, 29, and you're not a big guy, you decline quicker. So if they were to say David Irving for Earl Thomas straight up, I would say no, because David Irving, even though he hasn't played a full season, he's still 24. He's still 6'7", 285 pounds, 290 pounds. He played 7-8 games, still had 7 sacks. I'm sorry, I just got to go with that. I just got to go with that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, I would do that, I think, because we don't really seem like we want to commit to David Irving. So we might as well get rid of him and get something while we can. I'm just kind of wondering, like, if they were to pull off a trade like that, would it be some sort of like sign and trade type deal? Because they both are looking for contracts. You know what I mean? So like Earl Thomas wants a contract and security. So does David Irving. I don't see them doing a deal where they're both sitting there with 1 year. You know what I mean? They're going to need some kind of long-term thing to get done for both parties. So I don't know if they sign their own guys and then trade, or do they make the trade and then agree on a deal? You know, I don't know how that would work, but
I don't know how it would work, but I just I'm asking. Well, then you ask me. I'm asking you. What would you do? Would you do David Irving for Earl Thomas?
That's what I was just saying.
You want to?
Yeah, I just answered it.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
I was saying that, I didn't know exactly how I would do that. I mean, I don't know. I think I would, because, like I said.
You would?
Yeah, because, like I said, the Cowboys clearly aren't ready to make a commitment to David Irving.
Right.
So
you only would do it because we're not trying to make the commitment to Irving?
Yeah, because, I mean, why are we going to waste our time on him for 1 more year? Why not commit to Earl Thomas for 3 years?
Right.
So that would be my reason why, I guess.
But deep down inside, you wouldn't really want to do it, though, right?
No, I would, yes.
You would? Deep down inside?
Deep down, I would rather have Earl Thomas than David Irving.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Earl Thomas would come right in and make an impact on the defense. Not only he's a Super Bowl champion and he knows what it takes to win with a secondary, and he's played with a great secondary, as we all know, Legion of Boom.
Right.
I think he could come in with our young guys and kind of lead them, like we've said before.
Yeah.
And I think that's more valuable than what David Irving would bring. That's just my opinion.
It's a good opinion. I definitely see the side. I guess I'm just I want Earl Thomas here bad, but I guess if you're looking for the straight-up player type deal, I guess that's when I look at age and injury, when you're looking at player for player. I think that's the only time I would bring it up. But if you were bringing him over for picks, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But when you're doing a straight-up player and you have a guy that's 24, 25, and he has that size potential, it's still very hard for me to do that straight-up trade for that.
I said I'm more interested in his leadership skills than anything else. like his ability to probably come in there and command that defense. And those young guys are probably looking for a guy like that to look up to.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of supposed to be like Byron Jones, but really he's young too and needs a guy like that. So
right.
I think just we need a quarterback of the defense. I know Sean Lee's supposed to do that, but
I agree.
He's not really messing with the secondary. Sean Lee's more linebackers in that front. You know,
if you know as well as I do, and I feel like a lot of Cowboys fans know that if we were actually get to Earl Thomas and he would actually come in the facility, it would change the whole. Everybody knows it would change. Like you said, Sean Lee is good. But I don't think they would look at him like the leader, like Earl Thomas. Everybody will come in and be like, Earl Thomas, stand up. I feel like they would reverence him more than they do Sean Lee. And I think the biggest reason why is because Sean Lee is always hurt. And when a player is always hurt, it's kind of hard for you to look up to him because you never know if he's going to be on the field.
Plus, Sean Lee, he's the general.
He's kind of a quiet guy, though.
Yeah, I was going to say he's really bland and
he's
boring,
not the rah-rah guy.
Yeah,
Earl Thomas is that guy.
He's not going to rally the guys, you know. Like
right.
Sean Lee looks very conservative. Like he stays to himself, and he don't want to really mess around with what the young guys are doing, I guess.
Yeah.
Nate Smith makes a good point. He says, but Thomas with Richards and the rookie, or Richard, however you say his name, the new coach from Seattle, he says, Earl Thomas pairing back up with him and these rookies, that's what I was kind of getting at earlier. Maybe I don't want to say Legion of Boom, but, something like that where you got this young core of guys, but now Earl Thomas can be that leader and take it over.
He will, and
like
he would.
I said, he's done that. He's won a Super Bowl with the defense. He knows what it takes to have a Super Bowl-type defense.
And you automatically respect a guy who's won a Super Bowl, who's been there and done that, who's been there and done it consistently.
Could you imagine that? If we had a Super Bowl winner on our team, when have we had a Super Bowl champion on our team?
Been a long time, big dog.
We've never signed one of these guys that, leave a
Charles
Super Bowl
Hurley.
team.
He's the last one, probably, ain't he?
All right, well, there you go. That's a long time ago.
94.
So I'm just saying, when's the last time we've actually signed a guy from another team who won a Super Bowl?
But that also brings into the play that does guys want to come here to Dallas, too?
Well, you know how it is, though, when you win a Super Bowl, you're going to have guys leaving your team getting massively overpaid.
Right.
Malcolm Smith from Seattle is one of those guys.
But I'm just saying, do you do a lot of free agents? We used to be the lure, the Cowboys. Oh, come to the Cowboys. But I wonder if that luster has worn off to other guys as far as they look at our team like, okay, if you have a guy that's maybe the last few years of his career, and he's looking for a team that's a contender, he's not going to look at Dallas as a contender, do you think?
Well, no, he's not going to see it as a contender, but the difference is if you remember back in the day, like this was before a salary cap, you could just sign whoever you wanted. If you had more money than anybody else, you were probably going to win because you could just buy your team.
Mm-hmm.
So now that the cap's involved, Jerry Jones don't know how to manage it with a cap. It's easy to manage when you can spend as much as you want.
Right.
And you can just buy anybody and buy all your talent.
Right.
Not that that's what they did. I mean, they did that obviously in like the 95 season, 96, right around that area. They tried to buy talent with Dion and Charles Haley and all those guys or whatever. But, they drafted Aikman and Emmett and Irvin. We know that. So,
right.
But still, I mean, it's not like it used to be where you can just go keep all your guys because you can just re-sign them all to massive contracts.
Mm-hmm.
With that salary cap, it makes it more of a challenge. So as you can see, as much as we love it that we're the richest, worth the most money of any franchise, this and that, it does not matter when it comes to the salary cap.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody has some kind of money they can spend. If they really want a player, that's what I know.
You can make it happen.
You can make it happen. If you want a player in the NFL, you can make it happen. I don't care what anybody says. They can make it happen. That's a fact.
Over in the NBA, isn't there like a luxury tax?
Yeah, that luxury tax.
Yeah, more than what the cap is.
Yeah, they can do that.
So we can't do that in the NFL, though.
They can't do that in the NFL, but there's ways. All I know is that when I know a team that really wants a player, I see them sign them.
If we could do that in the NFL, like where we could just pay a luxury tax, you would think that we would just get whoever we want because we just paid a luxury tax because money really isn't a thing to Jerry.
No, not at all. He don't care about that, and he's got the money to spend. One thing I just feel like deep in my heart is that I just don't feel like a lot of players look at the Dallas Cowboys like they used to back in the day. I feel like they do look at the coaching staff. I feel like they do look at the culture of what's going on. And if I was a top player and maybe I was coming off a contract where this was probably my last couple of years and I was still a good player and then I was thinking about trying to get a championship before I leave or a Super Bowl, I'm keep it real. And I'm no disrespect to my team. I love my team or anything. But if I'm a player and I look at the Cowboys, I'm like, no. I'm not going there because we're not going to win a championship anytime soon. That's from a player perspective.
Well, but there's another way to look at it, though, from a player's perspective. Like, say you're Earl Thomas. You might be looking at this team like, I'm going to come over there and take you to the Super Bowl. That's another way a player could look at it.
Let's hope.
So we're going to jump over here to YouTube Live because we started picking up a little bit back over here. We got Jawan James tuned in over here, who I think
What's
he's
up,
also
Jawan? Yeah, he's on
our
both.
Facebook. So
What's
we
up,
appreciate
Jawan?
you jumping over there.
What up?
Xavier Giles, what's good? Buddy Johnson says Coach Jays are a Randy Moss type receiver in this year's draft. I think there's no Randy Moss, but there's
not at all.
There's a guy maybe close to some Moss size, maybe St. Brown.
Cortland Sutton, and there's another guy that we looked at too. He was like 6'5" or 6'6". He remember the
How
real
tall
big guy.
was Moss?
6'3", Moss
6'4",
solid 6'4".
Yeah, so I think.
But there is nobody
St.
like
Brown
that because he ran a 4.2 40.
No,
so
there's no one
in there.
No one his. But I mean, St. Brown would be the guy I would think would be the most comparable out of anybody in this draft.
Body type,
big, tall. He ran a 4.4.
Yeah, body
that's
type,
pretty
but
fast
not
for
the
that
player
big
like
guy.
Moss.
No.
Body type though.
But hey, you never know what could happen when they come in the NFL. But we already knew Randy Moss was a stud from college. It's crazy. He went to Marshall.
He had to.
That's nuts.
He didn't have no choice. He went to Florida State and Notre Dame, got kicked out of both schools for smoking weed.
Isaac Chavez Ward, thanks for commenting back in with us, says, y'all think Dan Bailey's lost his confidence? You know how those kickers are, and he was missing a lot of balls. I know he came off an injury, but I do think a mental, there could be something that hit the wall mentally for him.
I think maybe this past season a mental hurdle came because, like you said, kickers, when they mess up bad. Remember when we got Mike Vanderjagt? He was supposed to be the savior. He came over to us and he couldn't kick a freaking football to the barn.
That's what I'm saying, like that wall, he kind of just hit.
But I feel like Dan Bailey, I can't tell you what's in Dan Bailey's mind, but what I can tell you is this. My first couple of games and watching him kick off and watching him make extra points, that'll let me know if his mentals are okay. If you see him kicking normal, then I feel like he's got over it. I feel like it's just I just feel like he came back maybe a little too early because maybe the pressure was on for us, maybe trying to get a playoff push. So we were rushing him like we rushed Romo and Dez back because we were trying to stay in the hunt. So I just don't think he was all the way right when he came back from a groin injury. Because one thing about a groin injury, I've had a few groin injuries. You can think they're good, like you'll feel good. You'll feel really good, and then you'll just make one move, and you're like, oh, it'll just tweak it. And that's what I feel like. I feel like he really, when he did his field goals, that maybe he was not trying to re-pull it, so he maybe not put the pressure on it, and maybe that's why he was
overcompensating.
He's overcompensating. So I think Dan Bailey will be okay.
Jawan James on YouTube Live says Zach Brown re-signs with the Redskins.
Yeah, well,
so that was a guy that was a potential, but
I don't think we're not touching anybody in free agency. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, that is pretty
I've never
amazing.
seen anything like this.
Dallas Cowboys, the only team so far to not make a move in free agency other than losing two guys.
Right.
If you're just joining us, it's the Silver and Blue Nation live podcast, streaming live here on EBSN Online Facebook, Silver and Blue Nation YouTube, EBSN Online YouTube. And then you can catch us afterwards if you want the audio portion on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, all the social platform mediums, Instagram, Twitter. We're all over the place. Keep it over here, and we're going to be here with you for a few more minutes. Russell Harrison, we'll take a few more questions. Russell Harrison in Facebook Live comments, why haven't the Cowboys cut Tyrone Crawford? That signing was worse than Brandon Carr.
I don't think that signing was worse than Brandon Carr. I feel like the Brandon Carr signing was bad because they should have never threw out that money to a guy that came from Grand Valley State, and he didn't have great numbers. When you saw Tyrone Crawford, I'm not going to lie, when they had Tyrone Crawford at the 3 technique position, he was balling out. He looked really good. Their problem was that they do what they do and do the dumb stuff and move him out to defensive end and don't keep him at the defensive tackle, and it messed them up. So then they go ahead and draft Malik Collins. Now Malik Collins plays the 3 tech. Malik Collins has a great rookie year. He gets 5 sacks. Now you don't know what to do with Tyrone Crawford because Tyrone Crawford makes $10 million and Malik Collins makes $900,000. So who's going to be the starting 3 tech? You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, it's going to be about the cash. But they keep moving him around, and that's hurt Tyrone Crawford. I don't feel like Tyrone Crawford is a terrible player. He just got a bad contract. That's all it is. If Tyrone Crawford had a pay cut and he was only making $5 million a year, we'd love Tyrone Crawford right now.
That's comparable to Brandon Carr.
Brandon Carr.
Ryan Dyed tuned in. He checked in on Facebook Live. Ryan, we didn't forget about you. We appreciate you. I know you said you hadn't really watched since the season ended.
Glad you're back.
That might be the same way for a lot of people because we got a good bunch in here today. We were staying steady around 35, 40 viewers, so appreciate everybody who's tuned in.
Before you jump on that, Jessica, Jessica always goes hard. What's up, Jessica?
Yeah, let's hit all the comments.
She says, right on, Nate. Big Game James, you need to stop trashing the Cowboys with your negative talk. Let me tell you something, okay, Jessica? I love you. Okay, I love you so much, Jessica. But let me tell you something. I'm not going to be this guy that talks positive about the Dallas Cowboys all the time, and our Cowboys aren't making positive moves. That's not the way I work, okay? If Dallas is doing something great and good, I'm going to speak great and good about Dallas. If I don't feel in my heart Dallas is doing something great, then I'm going to speak on it, and that's just the way it is. You ain't got to like it. I'm sorry if you don't, but I'm not going to speak everything positive about the Dallas Cowboys when everything ain't positive, okay? If everything was positive, we'd have more than 5 Super Bowls right now. If everything was positive, we've had more than 2 playoff wins in 20 freaking years. So everything isn't positive with the Dallas Cowboys, okay? So we need to step our game up so we can take it to the next level and get back on the ship. So if it's not being positive in Dallas and players aren't doing the right thing, then I'm going to say something about it. I'm sorry.
And that's the way it is and always will be at Silver and Blue Nation.
That's right.
Raymond Colazzo says, Mike Fisher said Navarro Bowman's people said Dallas is interested in him but want to make the offensive line a priority in free agency. Again, we're not signing anyone.
Right.
I don't even know if we should even continue to discuss free agents
right.
anymore.
It's like
I know everybody wants to talk about it.
We all want to talk about them, but it's like we ain't doing nothing. So it's like I'll post something like a player, like, hey, this player might be available. But in my heart, I'm like, we ain't going to sign him. Why am I even posting this dude? Like, we're not going to even touch him. The guy that I really feel like we're going to sign is that Cameron Fleming. I really feel like we're going to get him.
Where's he from again?
He is from New England.
He is what position again?
Offensive tackle.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we need that for...
Tyron
Smith back
Tyron
up.
Smith, I don't know. And then they're talking about if they sign him, they may move La'el Collins back to left guard. And that's the problem. Figure it out. Is La'el Collins your left guard? Is he your right tackle? You can't move him back and forth every. Figure out a spot and keep him there. Same with Tyron Crawford. We've had multiple players with the Cowboys that we want to keep moving around, and then it takes away their value.
And we're wasting time.
So you don't get the full potential of a Byron Jones because you move him down to a safety, you move him to corner. You don't get the full potential of a Tyron Crawford because you move him to D tackle or D end. Keep him at one spot and let him grow and be good in that area.
Ron Smith says he's taking off. We appreciate you for tuning in, Ron Smith. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to tune in Thursday night for James's event at the Mexico restaurant in Plano, Texas. So everybody check into that. That should be live on the Dallas Prospect Facebook, YouTube page, as well as Law Nation over on YouTube. So make sure you guys watch for that Thursday night. You know the time?
7:30.
7:30.
To, I think it's going to go to about 10 o'clock.
What's the time though? Like the Central Time, Eastern Time?
It's going to be Central
Texas time.
Texas time. So you'll
Central,
be Central time.
Yep.
Central time.
So
make sure you get out there if you're in the Texas area.
You said 7, right? 7 Central Time.
Yeah, 7 Central.
So that's 6 Eastern Time. That's 8 Mountain Time and 9 Pacific. So there it is. No reason to miss that. If you're tuned in, make sure you check that out. That should be a big deal and a big event for those guys. Jop Young says he thinks we're going to sign Earl Thomas. Well, I guess you would trade for Earl Thomas, but I do believe that some move has to be made, and it might just be one big splash move, and that's it. I mean, I've heard these different reports. You might have heard some fake news. I don't know about trades, blockbuster deals being in the works. I have no idea what's going on, but maybe something is in the works. You know, you never know. Every time we see a contract or something get restructured, you know, you get a little excited, like, ooh, what are they doing that for?
Yeah.
What are they restructuring for? Are they getting ready for a trade, or who are they going to pick up? You know,
usually when Dallas seems to always open their hand. If you haven't noticed, when we restructure, we sign somebody right after that. It's like as soon as we get that money open, we go right after.
Because you know why they're restructuring.
Exactly. You know why they're restructuring, open, freeing up money. And then right after we restructure, you got Cameron Fleming coming in for another visit.
And it's sad because they clear up $7.5 million, and it's like, okay, so you're going to give out $2 million to this guy for a year, $2 or $3 million.
Right.
And then you just signed another lower-ranked fringe player who's going to be on the roster
for a couple years, and he never did anything for your team. So you just wasted money.
You're going to get another Nolan Carroll where he comes in for training camp, maybe makes a roster, and then he's cut.
Exactly. I mean, look at all the guys we've had in 2 years. Who's made a difference as far as the free agents that we brought in?
Actually,
not one.
There was a list. I'll see if I can go and get it.
See if you can find that list.
While I'm finding that list.
That list is terrible.
Isaac Chavez Ward says, "Where's Rolando McClain at?" We've been saying that.
He on that lean, baby.
I want McClain.
I want him too, but he on that lean tough, and he ain't coming back. But I will give Rolando McClain props. He did graduate. He graduated from the University of Alabama, I believe, 3 months ago. So big ups to Rolando McClain for graduating the University of Alabama. Man, he hurts my soul because I don't feel like he ever really cared about football. He just had that.
So talented.
He just had the ability. And sometimes you can have the ability and not even care about the sport. You're just so good and you just play it. I've seen kids time and time again when I coach that some kids don't even care about the sport, but they're just so damn good. You got to put them on the field, and I think that's what happened with Rolando McClain. And it just hurts me, like what could have been with him and us, because he was so good with us. In that little small frame of time, man, he just changed our defense. He just gave our defense that, you know what I mean? He gave us that.
You and I had a conversation.
Man,
about
he gave us that thump, man.
We were talking about that one day. We were just standing outside in the parking lot, just talking about Rolando McClain and how he could have been one of the better linebackers in the league.
Yeah,
if his head was on the right, in the right place. But
now I got a couple of people. I got Isaac Chavez Ward and I got Nate Smith. They said we should have went after the Honey Badger. And when I think about it, I don't really think we should have went after the Honey Badger, because if you look at what the Honey Badger brought to the table, first of all, y'all got to really look at his size, man. He was playing free safety, possibly strong safety, and he was 5'9", 185 pounds. That is small. That is small. And he's blew out 2 knees, right and left knee. And he's been injured his whole career, and he's never been a big tackler. Now, I love Honey Badger as a player. But I just feel like if you brought him to our team, would he really took us over the top? I don't believe so.
So I found the list and I found this list over on Big Game James' Facebook page. If you want to go over and check that out, give that a like as well. Follow him there for the hottest Cowboys content, including videos like this and all his other videos that we put out, including Coach Jay's Film Day, which has been on a 2-week hiatus, but it's coming back. The draft is not here yet, so we got time to get those out. So watch for that to drop soon, and you'll learn about who the Cowboys need to pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So I got a list of the notable free agency signings over the previous 2 years for the Cowboys, and this is including some of their own who might have went unrestricted. Robert Blanton, he got cut.
He
didn't even make the team.
Didn't make the team.
Byron Bell.
Trash.
Jonathan Cooper.
Okay, that was an okay signing.
Darren McFadden.
He had one good year.
Didn't really make any kind of impact for us. He had a good year on a 5-11 season, or 4-12, whatever it was that year. Stephen Pea.
Hell no, didn't make it out of training camp.
Nolan Carroll.
Definitely a hell no.
DeMontre Moore.
Didn't make it out of camp.
Terrence Williams. We just talked about Rolando McClain. That's all you got from Terrence. The no-hand Sam Terrence Williams. Cedric Thornton.
Lord.
Gone. And most of these guys are gone, too, except for Terrence Williams so far, I think. Out of everyone we named here. Is Cooper still on the team?
Jonathan Cooper's still on the team.
He's still on the team, so we got him. So Alfred Morris. Is he a free agent now?
He's a free agent.
And he ain't signed with nobody yet.
Yeah, don't bring him back.
Benson Mayowa.
Hell to the no.
Joe Looney and Jack Crawford.
Jack Crawford's gone. Joe Looney is still with the team as a backup.
So there's your list of the exciting free agents the last couple of years.
If that don't make you do cartwheels and do backflips for that list, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Something's wrong. Nobody, I don't know. Like I said, either we ain't got the money or I just don't feel like a lot of players want to come here because, number one, I feel like the players think we're cheap now, and I just feel like a lot of players don't believe in Jason Garrett. I mean, if I was a player, I'm just telling you from my perspective, I'm not disrespecting my team, but if I was a player from the outside and I was trying to go somewhere and I looked at the coaching staff and I looked at Jason Garrett, I'm like, my last 2 years, maybe NFL, maybe 3. Coach, I don't know.
I'm glad you said that, too, because Xavier Giles over here in the YouTube live comment says, we won't get any top players till we get a new coach. That's why we haven't signed any.
I mean, think about it, though. It's the truth. If you're a top player, you're going to come from play for Jason Garrett. When Earl Thomas came to me, the biggest thing that surprised me when Earl Thomas came to our locker room and he came to Jason Garrett and said, come get me. Earl Thomas came to Jason Garrett and said, come get me? Right. Who the hell is Jason Garrett? He ain't no good-ass
that
coach.
That just goes to show you how much Earl Thomas wants to be in Dallas.
In Dallas. Not Jason Garrett, but he wants to be in Dallas because there ain't no way in hell he came like, Jason Garrett's a great coach.
I made this point last week, too. I think it was on the Dallas Prospect Show we did, and you can catch that one on Wednesday nights as well on Facebook Live right here on – well, you can go find that one on our Silver and Blue Nation Facebook page. Made the point that, one of the lures to the Cowboys is how they try to get people in is the amazing facilities, the amazing stadium. And Earl Thomas actually, they were in Dallas for that game. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. He's there seeing that huge stadium. He's thinking, this could be my home, So I do think there's an attractive factor there with the stadium and the facilities that the Cowboys have when it comes to free agents or players wanting to play. But I'm with you, though, and, you're not going to get people that actually want to win. I think Earl Thomas, was kind of basically just saying, I'd like to finish my career in Dallas.
Right. And, I mean, because he's a Texas boy, and I believe that's the main lure, he probably always wanted to play for the Dallas Cowboys. It probably was always a dream for him. And what a perfect way to end your career to do that. But I'm going to have to disagree with you with the players. I just don't feel like the players are looking at the stadium and the lore because all these other teams, the Falcons, the Vikings, are all building up these new facilities. New stadiums are coming up all the time, and they're comparable to – not comparable because there's nothing like Jerry's World, so don't let me say that. But I will say I feel like if I was a player, facilities wouldn't be the key. It would be coaching staff and can I get a championship.
Not all players think that way, though.
True.
Because I do think, the red carpet treatment plays a part of it. How does this organization treat you? Look at Kirk Cousins. He hated the way the Redskins treated him. So now I think he's choosing the Vikings more on the way they treat him necessarily.
And they gave him a guaranteed three-year contract. They gave him a guarantee. That's a big deal.
They do have a good team, and they were in an NFC Championship game, so they were close to going to the Super Bowl already. I don't know if
Kirk Cousins ain't taking no Super Bowl.
I don't know if he gets them over that hump.
He ain't the guy.
But I do believe the way they rolled out the red carpet for him, gave him what he want. They have a brand new stadium with nice facilities. I think that might have played a little bit of a factor into it. But hey, some players will, some players won't look at it that way. But there's just two different ways that a player might look at it or see it that way. Jawan James on YouTube Live, we're going to get ready to wrap this thing up. He says, just throwing this out there, what if this is Stephen Jones's way of preparing to carry the torch because it's time for Jerry to go? Clean up what Pops did to get things in the right direction. Basically saying, from what it kind of sounds like to me, is that he's saying maybe we're sacrificing these next 3 or 4 seasons to finally be out of cap hell and doing things the right way once Jerry's done within the next 3 to 4 seasons probably. But I don't like that because we could end up wasting Dak's career.
Right. I can see that theory that, you know what, let's wait till 2018 because 2019 will actually have more cap space to make moves. I can see that aspect of it, but I feel like every year you always have to get better. No matter, you can never stay pat in the NFL or in life. You can never say, okay, we're okay. Every year you have to try to get better with anything that you do. And I feel like that we have to always keep that mentality. And right now, like I said, we don't have to go out there and sign 20 players, but I feel like you got to get maybe 1 or 2 players to get you over the hump. Leadership is I think the key to me with a free agent this year, a difference maker, is leadership. Leadership. Yes, we are missing leadership,
and even on offense.
Offense, I feel like Dak and those guys can step up, but I feel like we're missing a huge void on defense for leadership. I feel like
in the secondary,
we don't have anybody that we can turn to in the secondary.
And where would that be? Safety, the last
safety
line of defense.
that gets the guys together to make the calls. And I think that's why everybody's clamoring for Earl Thomas, because we are missing that.
I say mark it down. We're going to work something out with Kenny Vaccaro. I think that's the solution. That's the cheaper way to go. And he kind of has that name, that you like too. And I just think he'll bring that.
But he's a free safety, though, G. He takes away from Xavier Woods.
They could probably work that out. I'm sure Xavier Woods can play both. I think Xavier even play a little corner.
Yeah, but I really just feel like Xavier needs
to play him to their strength.
You need to play his strength, and that's why I said, But even Earl Thomas is a free safety, so he would take over Woods' spot too. So I don't know why I'm saying that. They would work that out somehow. I believe.
I think Xavier's good enough to play either. And I think maybe even those guys, Vaccaro and Earl Thomas, could kind of – but you want them to play their strengths for sure.
Right.
A couple little quick nuggets. I know we still got ton of comments that we didn't get to this week, but you can always tune back in next Sunday, or you can rewatch this show, or we're here every week, and then we're going to be doing a regular Wednesday night thing too. So you're actually going to get Big Game James and Producer G twice a week.
Wow.
So
and that's special.
So make sure you're tuning in on Wednesday nights and Sunday evenings. So.
And when make sure to tell them to tune in on Wednesdays. We got some stuff for Wednesdays.
That's what I'm saying.
We got fire, man. We got fire on that Wednesday. Law Nation.
Everybody loves Law Nation.
You know what I'm saying? Wednesday, we got some fire topics, and it's real raw and uncut. You know what I'm saying? The kids is in the bed. We going raw. It's the late night. You might hear a few cuss words on there. That's how we do on the late night, baby.
If you get some extra time, check that out Wednesday nights. Not this week because he'll be in Texas. Big Game James will be in Texas for
hometown, baby.
An event at Mexico with the Dallas Prospect and Law Nation. Mm-hmm. So make sure you tune in for that Thursday night. But the week after that, we should be on a regular every Wednesday night type of deal coming from the Silver and Blue Nation Live page, Dallas Prospect page, Law Nation on YouTube, Dallas Prospect on YouTube. So keep those three names in mind, Silver and Blue Nation, Dallas Prospect, Law Nation, and Big Game James. So keep all those names in mind because that's where you're going to see a lot of these guys working together. Couple little quick nuggets. We had Keith Smith go sign with the Raiders, so we lost that. We lost a fullback, so we're going to have to address that position. Over here on YouTube Live, Cowboys X Factor says bye. See ya. We'll see you later. Cowboys X Factor.
All right, what's up?
Thank you for tuning in.
Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody today. It's been a full house today. Giving a lot of shout outs to a lot of people today.
Yeah, he says our YouTube channel is nice, so we appreciate
you. We appreciate you big time. And we hey, I'm sorry to mean to cut you off, G. I apologize, but I just want to give a shout out to everybody that tuned in today. Real big crowd. I don't know if it was the weather that had it popping today, but
we're getting close to some action.
You know, we're getting close. The draft is coming. Everybody's starting to get excited. Yeah, we're 1 year mark for Silver and Blue Nation, so everybody has tuned in to the show for this whole year, man. It's been pretty awesome, man.
That's another thing. You know how maybe our viewership's been down a little, or the people that are watching at once.
Right.
But that just happens because of the time of the year. But you know what? Up until this show, actually, previously to this show, we hadn't been doing it at this time of the year, so we don't know what it would have been like at this time of the year last year.
Right.
This is when we started doing it, and look how we start off with a great show for this year. So that's great to come out of your 1 year mark and come out with a great show like this.
Yes, sir.
And all these viewers, we certainly appreciate that and all the comments.
Appreciate all the people out there.
And
you sound like Jerry. You sound like Jerry Jones right there. Go ahead and give it to him.
And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that,
he said,
I want me some glory hole.
He said, I caught you.
So hopefully we entertained everybody who tuned in. Cowboy X Factor said keep this stuff going, and you guys will grow. We've been keeping it going. Appreciate the comment. 1 year and going strong.
Going strong, baby.
Stronger than ever.
Yeah.
On to new things, making new things. And you guys can see if you've been watching all this time, you see the difference. I know some of you probably caught that evolution of the Silver and Blue Nation podcast show video I put out on the anniversary day 2 days ago. So that was big. And everybody who's always been with us, we certainly appreciate you all from the beginning. Even if we didn't say your name, you know.
You're special to us.
There's too many people to remember their names at once, but if I see your name, I'm gonna remember you, but just can't think of the names right off the top. So if I missed you,
we love you.
We love you, and make sure you're tuning in every week. Did you have any final thoughts?
I just want to get one final question there. Jawan James asked, are we going to be doing live draft day? Most likely we'll be trying to. I mean, last year we were pretty much close to it as possible. So we did pretty good on our draft last year. So we're going to have something. So make sure you're there. I'm going to try to be there for the draft. I'm still waiting for my approval for my ticket to get in there. So Law Nation and Derek Kirby, Dallas Prospect, are already live in Texas, and my family's there. So I'm going to try to get down there regardless. And we still might do something down there. G can Skype us. We're going to go hard. So my thing is just keep tuning in. We're going to keep giving you the latest, greatest Cowboys news and try to keep on top of everything for y'all. So y'all just keep tuning in. The realest opinions, whether you like them or not. We're not here to agree with everybody. Everybody doesn't have the same opinion, but that's what's beautiful about this, that we can disagree, but we can also have a good time, because I'm damn sure not going to agree with all your opinions, and I know you sure ain't going to agree with mine, but that's okay.
Hey, I mean, that's what analyzing is. It's all good. Sit here and analyze. And
straight up.
We break it all down.
But Big Game James ain't going to be listening to what y'all say.
Real quick, one quick last thing. I want to get this in here because I didn't mention it.
Yeah.
Cowboys are looking at wide receiver Deontay Thompson. What do you think that kind of type of signing would mean? Because for me, that's just some depth, which I don't like that. I don't like that.
I don't unless exactly unless it's a guy that you. That's just like when we signed KD Drummond. I got excited for the speed, but kudos KD Drummond. He's gonna come in and start.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Nobody were picking.
You're not just like when we were signing those linebackers during the season. Damian Lillard's Mark. Who is he? He's not gonna come in and start. He's just gonna be a depth player if somebody gets hurt. And if somebody does get hurt and nobody else signs him, that means that he probably couldn't play anywhere. So that means he's not gonna come in and be quality for us.
And you know what? That's
the problem.
If we pick up this Deontay Thompson guy or whoever else these fringe players are we talk to, then there we go doing the same exact pattern that we've done.
Right.
And we're going to see the same exact results.
Exactly.
So hopefully there will be some new news next week. The other waves of free agency will come down, and I'm sure there will be some. Hopefully the Cowboys will have made some kind of moves by next Sunday. If not, we'll be talking about the same stuff, I guess.
There it is. I mean, we'll just be. But as I said before, this is the even year for Jason Garrett. So everybody who thinks we're going to fall off, I really doubt it. I feel like we're going to have a comeback strong. We're going to have a good season. I feel like we're going to make the playoffs. What happens in the playoffs, I don't know, but I believe we're going to have a bounce-back year because the year says it's going to happen, and I believe it will.
Again, if you like the show, we love you. And go listen to us.
That sounded real.
Go listen to us.
That sounded so real, G. He said we love you.
Hey, we love you. I'm serious.
It sounded serious.
We love you.
It sounded real
and
love.
I want you to love me and love Big Game James.
I hope you love me.
Silver and Blue Nation and share.
Don't give us no fours, no threes, no twos, and no ones.
Every week, and like he's saying, go give us a page rating.
5.
And if you missed anything, go to iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, or watch us right back here on Facebook and YouTube. And make sure you also give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
So until next week, enjoy the Cowboys news that comes out. Watch for some notifications. I know we all been watching and wondering why we ain't seeing anything from our team, but keep an eye out, and we'll see what happens, and we'll have it for you next week. I'm Producer G.
And that's
Oh, I should have said I messed that one up, didn't I? All right, well, that's Big Game James.
And that's Producer G.
And that's how the show ends.
And we out.